Hello and welcome to everyone who's joining us. We appreciate you taking time this evening to learn a little bit more about our academics at MMA and to get your questions answered. Dean Clement and some of her academic team are here to do that. So thank you for those of you who submitted questions as well. We appreciate that. My name is Jenny O'Donnelly. I am the director for marketing at MMA, and I've been with the Academy for about 5 years. So I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's a very wonderful place, and it's been great working with Renee and Pearl and Kristen and Cameo on the academic team. Really appreciate how well everyone works together, and did just want to say thank you to them for taking time this evening as well. So we've got probably have a few more people joining us, but I'll just continue to admit them into the Zoom. And thank you, Ruth. Thank you for the comment in the chat. If you guys would, if you would like to go ahead and introduce yourselves and who your cadet is in the chat, that kind of helps everybody to get a sense of who's here and for the parents to get to know each other as well. So we're, in the interest of time, we've organized questions that were submitted, and we're going to go through those. We will try to get through everything we can. We're going to keep this to an hour. We will follow up afterwards with answers to questions that we may not get. I would also encourage you, if you've got a question that comes up as we're talking, feel free to ask that in the chat, and we will try to answer that and get the information to you either this evening or follow up later on as well. So, okay. All right, I'm going to let Dean Clement start now and introduce herself and her team.
Hello, my name is Renee Clement. I am the academic dean here. I've been with MMA for 2 years in January. And then I have my team. We have Pearl Newbrower, who is our registrar. So she's the one you deal with when you have all your schedule changes and upgrades and all of that. We have Kristen Adams Vargas. She's our learning specialist and also our assistant dean. She takes care of all of our learning plans. She tutors a lot of kids. And then we also have Cameo Wells, who's new this year, and she is our college and career counselor.
All right, thank you. Okay, so Fall Family Weekend, of course, is coming up October 18th to 20th, and that's the first opportunity that families have to do specific conferences with teachers, with faculty, faculty advisors, and also with our company leadership advisors for getting some information on cadets deportment and life in the barracks. I do want to encourage all of you to make sure that you've signed up for those conferences. If you're not aware, we do have in the parent section of our website, so if you go to the parent section of the website, we have a communications archive. So under parent resources and parent information, there is a button for a communications archive. That takes you to links to all the emails that we have sent out. So if you've ever lost an email, you can go here. So the scheduled conferences and register for the dinner and dance, there's an email there. You can click on that to find the link and instructions on how to schedule as well. So I will put that link in the chat so that if anybody needs it, you've got it. But in addition to conferences, we had questions about how cadets can find out how their cadets are doing. So just throughout the semester. So Dean Clement, do you want to touch on that?
Just one more thing on the Fall Family Weekend. We do have many of our teachers that are coaches, and some of them have games, and you might see like a stretch of time that's not available. They will be in contact with you guys if your cadet has one of those teachers to set up an alternative date for that. And if they don't, please feel free to email them as well if you need to put that into your calendar or something. So I just wanted to say that on a side note. But yeah, so as far as kind of keeping track of how your cadet is doing, our first line is always contact their advisor. So every cadet has an advisory period, and that advisor kind of keeps track of grades and their well-being and health over on our academic side. Those advisors also keep in touch with our CLAs. So maybe a cadet is missing a couple assignments. They shoot an email over to the CLAs for study hall, and then those CLAs will get those cadets down to make up those assignments. So that's your first line. If they don't answer your questions like you need, you can contact the teacher directly if it's for a certain class. Or you can always contact myself, Kristen, Pearl, or Cameo, and then we can get you to the right person or we can get you the right answer. We also have Google Classroom. So several ways to get onto that. Your cadet can actually invite you as their parent. The teacher can also invite you or send you the link, and then you can make contact on Google Classroom with that. Now, I will say as a disclaimer, not all teachers use Google Classroom regularly, and they don't normally use that grade book. The grade book is on Blackbaud. And so I'm going to turn it over to Pearl because she deals with our Blackbaud side, and then she can give you directions if you need to check in on grades and things like that.
So you can actively track your cadets' progress through My School, which is our student information system through Blackbaud. And I believe Jenny's going to share out the link to the instructions on how to get access to My School if you don't already have it. If you do have it and you're having any kind of issues logging in, please feel free to contact me, or if you have questions about how to access anything on it, I'm always happy to help with that too. If there's a problem with access that I can't handle, then I'll escalate it to our support team to get that fixed for you. But once you get access to My School, you can see your cadet's progress in all his classes. You can see his assignments, if he has anything missing, teacher comments. You can even contact his teacher directly through your access in My School. That's really convenient to be able to just click and send them an email real quick if you have a question about something you've just seen. So this is always a good way to keep in touch with what your cadet's doing in his classes and how he's doing academically.
Great, thank you. We also had a question about class rankings. And Pearl, I know you're very involved in this, particularly for our seniors. So would you comment on that, please?
Absolutely. So our class rank is based on their cumulative weighted GPA. We actively rank our juniors and seniors, and I can give you a rank for the other classes, but it's not typically something we share out until they become juniors and seniors, because that's when it becomes more important, when they're starting to work on college application and those sorts of things. But anytime you have questions about class rank, you can reach out to me. I know I have added them to a new system that we're using called SCORE, that cadets or at least our senior cadets are using for college placement right now. So their rank is there as well as their cumulative GPA. But if you have a question and want to know what your cadet's rank is, please just reach out to me and I'll be happy to share that with you.
Great. Okay, thank you. I just also did share your email in the chat as well to make it easy for people. So hopefully that will help. And I do want to thank Dean Clement for making that note about the coaches. If you do encounter any difficulty with getting any conferences scheduled or can't get in at the right time, or if you're not going to be on campus, we do also have that virtual option for Thursday of next week. But our faculty, coaches, CLAs, everyone is available throughout the semester, throughout the year to meet with you virtually or to answer any questions. So if you can't get in at the time you need, then that is just fine. We can still answer your questions. Okay, as families are monitoring cadets' progress and want to support them, we'd like to share with them what kind of support that MMA offers to help cadets succeed academically. So that way then families can know what to encourage their cadets to take advantage of or to ask them about as well.
So we're going to go into like supervised study hall and the regular study hall. And so I'm going to turn it over to Kristen Adams Vargas because she does our guided study hall. And she can kind of run down that along with, I think we had some tutoring questions as well. So we can hit some of those along the way.
Hi, welcome everyone. So we have a regular study hall option and we also have a guided study hall option. So if the cadets are not assigned to guided study hall, which would be any cadet that is earning 69% or less in a class, they would be required to attend guided study hall. If they do not attend guided study hall, then they attend regular study hall in the barracks. Okay. As a parent, you have the right to ask for your child to attend guided study hall with their academic advisor. Okay. And you can specify what subject areas you feel they need the help in. So each night we focus on a different area of curriculum. So for example, Monday is math. Tuesday would be science. Wednesday is social studies, and Thursday is language arts. So your child may not need to attend all 4 nights. It would be content specific so that they would receive the help from the teachers assigned those nights based upon their curriculum that they teach. Okay. As for the options for tutoring, we have tutoring available during advisory periods. It's up to the cadet and the advisor to seek out a time to meet and work on their grades. Advisors are supposed to be checking grades on a weekly, if not daily basis with the cadets, and then they would send your cadet to a teacher where they feel that they would benefit from more response to intervention time or tutoring time with that content specific teacher during advisory. Okay. We also offer Delta Phi members, which is our honor society, if you will, on campus. And those cadets work with our cadets as well during guided study hall time, as well as in the barracks. And we also offer times for teachers to set up meetings with cadets. We have some teachers that actually live on campus, and they have been offering tutoring with cadets after hours in the barracks. They have small groups that study in the game rooms of the basements of the barracks. And then I also offer tutoring on Tuesday and Thursday evenings after school, typically from 4:30 to 5:30. But that has to be approved prior to them attending through the athletic department. And I also run that through the commandant's department so that they're not missing anything there. So it does require some time to get that set up. That's not something they can come and just ask for that day and expect it to happen. Okay. And then I believe there was a question about supports also for AP tutoring. And so we offer SAT prep and other types of prep for classes and tutoring through IXL, which is a computer-based program. Parents are more than welcome to hire outside tutors or coaches. That has to be worked out with the commandant's department, however. And then we also offer other tutoring resources available through Delta Phi members when the cadets are on campus. And some of the CLAs are really good about partnering cadets that are struggling academically in the barracks with those Delta Phi members. Just if your child's having trouble, they could go to the CLA. The CLAs in each barracks have a list of Delta Phi members and what content specific they prefer to tutor in, and they can help link your child up to just in the barracks. Okay. And then if teachers are noticing that your son is struggling in any academic area, or maybe it's a behavioral area, or they just seem off, then we also offer what we call as cadet success team meetings. And so a teacher might send me an email just stating that I noticed that Joe's off this week, something's not quite right. I would send a blanket email out just asking all of the teachers on that cadets team what the behavior's like, how the grades are. I would look at the list of missing assignments, and if I've seen a decline in grades over a period of a week or 2 weeks, and then we would call all the teachers together and we would meet and problem solve. Typically, that means that I would also go and meet with your son and talk with him about concerns that the teachers are having and seeing if it's a motivational issue, if it's a behavioral issue. We talk about medication, if they're on medication, if they've been sick. I would get with the med center, and then you would also receive a phone call from me so that you would know that this was taking place as well. Okay. I think that's about it.
Thank you. And I do want to mention, to make it clear, we don't offer AP classes at MMA. We do offer the College Triumph program with William Woods, which enables cadets who are qualifying to get dual credit. So we're going to talk next about some of those academic options. Obviously, with the study hall and the success team that Kristen mentioned, we are providing every support we can to help cadets succeed and when they need extra support. And we also want to help them succeed when they also need to be challenged more and when they're ready for more. Before we touch on that, I do also want to mention, just so everyone knows, we also have partnerships with Heart Career Center and Presser Performing Arts. So those two organizations plus William Woods are kind of the three that we have special partnerships with to make sure we have a well-rounded academic experience for our cadets. With Heart Career Center, they've got access to some vocational technical classes, and with Presser, we've got some wonderful fine arts classes. So if we can next touch on the College Triumph program and kind of how we are able to help cadets continue to reach their full potential when they're ready to move beyond some of the high school work.
Carl, you want to take this one?
Sure. So we have the Triumph program through William Woods University, and we offer a number of classes during the year. Typically, those are calculus and college algebra, English composition 1 and 2, and intro to speech communications. And so the cadets would sign up to take those classes. Most of them meet once or twice a week, except for calculus, which meets daily. On the days that the cadets are not in class, they have a study hall that they are assigned to for additional time to work on the assignments for those classes. And otherwise, if we also monitor their progress in those classes, Cameo checks their grade progress once a week, and any cadet that falls below a 70% is automatically assigned to our guided study hall for additional support to bring that grade up. And we also will notify their academic advisor, who reaches out to parents to make sure that they're aware of how their son is doing in that dual credit class too.
Great. And we encourage as many cadets as possible to take advantage of that program with William Woods. It's, some of the courses are taught at MMA, so they don't have to travel. And some of them that we do transport them to the campus in Fulton, which is only a short drive, just so they can get the classes that they are interested in and are helpful.
Currently, only the math classes, calculus and college algebra, meet at William Woods. The other classes meet on campus here with a William Woods instructor.
And then Pearl, is there anything you want to mention about the Heart Career Presser that you think parents might want to know?
Actually, Dean Clement and I, we went to the Heart Career Center today for a meeting, and they will be opening up applications for next year in January. And I'll be reaching out to rising juniors and seniors to find out the cadets that are interested in participating in the Heart Career Center classes. The first thing I want to do is just go through their credits for graduation to make sure that if they participate in the program, that they'll be able to meet their graduation requirements, because those Heart Career Center classes actually take up 2 periods in a cadet's schedule each semester. So it is a lot of a big chunk of their time in their class schedule each semester. So we need to make sure that they're going to be able to meet all their other credit requirements. But once I get those, then we plan to probably take the cadets over to tour over at Heart Career Center so that they can walk through and see all the programs and maybe determine which ones they might be interested in applying for. On the application, they typically list their top 3, and they have to submit those. I don't remember the date off the top of my head that she gave me today, but we typically won't hear back about which program the cadet actually got into until about April or May, because all of the area schools feed into the Heart Career Center. So it's pretty competitive, especially programs like welding and diesel mechanics, auto mechanics. Those classes fill up really fast. And so cadets might not always get their first choice, but they really try to give them their first choice. They do give first priority to juniors because all the programs are 2-year programs. And so a junior would be able to complete both years and a senior would not. So, but if they have any spots left, then a senior can enroll in those classes too. And then Presser is wonderful too. We have so many good opportunities to work with them. They have an acting class and a backstage theater, a production class for cadets that don't maybe want to be in front of the camera, but would like to work on lighting or sound or building sets. There's also a martial arts and stage performance class that is taught there. And then this year we have 2 sections of our communications or speech class.
Great, thank you. And I will give a plug too for Cadet Dallas Grants, who is
Yes.
who is currently involved in Presser's production of To Kill a Mockingbird. So he has been taking classes with Presser, and now he's actually tried out for a role and is in one of their productions. So we are very proud of him.
It's wonderful. You should go see it if you haven't yet.
Cameo, as our director for college and career placement, is there anything that you want to add on some of these special academic programs?
Yeah, so coming from my background, some of you may have seen my profile. I come from working in admissions at Norwich University, and I was actually the Vermont counselor there. So I worked with the students who are applying to Norwich, who are high schoolers wanting to do like our dual enrollment, early college, and like stuff like that. And I just wanted to take a second to point out that cadets enrolling into William Woods classes, it's not just for them to take a higher honor class and to be more challenged. It's also an opportunity for them to really see what going to a college class is looking like, see the differences between a college professor and a high school teacher, the difference in the classroom environment. If they're going to an online or not online class, on-campus class, seeing like what an actual college campus looks like compared to high school. And with that being said, it's also an opportunity for them to learn how to be a little bit more independent, because their professors may mention in passing, like, hey, you might want to do a little better, but they're not going to be like a high school teacher where they're prompting you to go to study hall and signing you up for guided study hall and making sure you turn in papers on time and those kind of things. So, so that going from my experience of working with students, it's always been the students who are looking for more academically who apply for those programs, but that's the other aspect that they don't realize when they sign up for a class. So that's why it's really important that they understand that that's also a standard that they're going to have to understand and to meet when taking a college class.
Cameron, we just had a question in the chat too about, does William Woods accept the A+ program? Are you aware of it, if they've got any any scholarships related to the A+ program? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I'm still learning about the A+ programs and the programs that Missouri has to offer. So I'm still looking into that, but I can definitely give back to Jennifer, Miss O'Donnelly, with the answer on that, and we can send some more information out. And so I'm glad that this question was brought up about transferable credits, because the important thing to know is that not every college credit is transferable to every college. Typically with like, community colleges, those credits typically transfer really well within that state, because there's usually something called an articulation agreement between the schools saying that they accept those credits for these classes kind of thing, because they get them so frequently. Now, so the other part of transfer credits is that the reason why they aren't all accepted to all schools is because what you may be looking at for English 101 for one school doesn't meet the educational standard for English 101 in another school. So the school that they would be applying to after they graduate high school is who is going to determine if they're going to accept that credit. And there's a whole process that you go through for that. But encourage your cadet to reach out to their admissions counselor, and they should be able to walk them through that process.
Thank you.
Also, I want to comment on the A+ program real quick, because I know that we have parents from all over the United States. The A+ program is Missouri only. It is a community college only, and it is if you've met all of the requirements. There's grade requirements, there's community service requirements, and things of that nature. If you've met all of those guidelines, you can get 2 years of community college in the state of Missouri, basically for free. I think there's like a few books and maybe a couple lab fees you would have to pay. So when you go and you start looking at universities and colleges, always ask if they're in Missouri, if they offer an A+ scholarship. So a lot of them will not give you the 2 years of college for free, but they might offer a $2,000 A+ scholarship. So always be aware of that and ask. And I'm not sure if other states have programs like this, but this is only to Missouri. So I just wanted to reiterate that.
It's also not only community colleges, but also trade schools in Missouri.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all for that information. And one of the reasons why we partnered with William Woods as opposed to some other schools was because of just the alignment with our values and goals, and the ability for them to come on campus. The partnership that we have with them, where they are coming on campus to teach our cadets here, was very important, and is we feel a huge value to the cadets, and enables us to even more cadets to learn in person with those college professors. Okay, as we're talking about college and how we're prepared, how cadets, we're giving them some opportunities to take some courses. College preparation and applying to colleges, getting them ready for when they're ready to graduate and leave MMA is hugely important, and it is one of the requirements for graduation from MMA to be accepted at least one college, and to apply to a number of them as well. As we do that, can you all touch on how MMA supports cadets in preparing for the ACT and the SAT?
Camille, I'll let you take this since we've been working with this all week.
I actually just got back today from the ACT Midwest Conference, so I am very well versed right now. So our ACT prep program that we have going on right now, you may have seen emails go out from me. They went out to every junior and every senior parent, and select lower level cadets who, or lower grade cadets who has signed up to take the ACT as well, should have gotten this information. If you didn't get it and you're one of those parents, let me know. It means that you got dropped off my list somehow. So how we are doing ACT prep is this week has been, well, I'll start with last week. Last week or the week before, we did practice test number 1 to kind of get a baseline of where cadets were, which subjects they really needed some help with. Because what the ACT is it's a standardized test that focuses on English, reading, math, and science. So we are going to be helping cadets focus on like 1 or 2 subjects to improve throughout this process. So they took the practice test number 1 to kind of get a baseline. Then we put them into different groups. This week was individual prep week. Because it's the week before midterm, so we want to make sure that they were also getting their schoolwork done and review done and stuff like that. So they have been assigned to a subject group. There is an ACT prep team of faculty members here, and each faculty member is in charge of a subject. So Dean Clement is in charge of reading, and then we have 3 other faculty that are in charge of the other subject areas. They were all given an opportunity to meet with their team members sometime this week during advisory, which is 11:25 to 12:05, if they wanted to get a little more help and assistance in person for this subject. The team member assigned a Google Classroom assignments, like create a Google Classroom for that subject, and assigned assignments to be completed this week by Friday. Next week, Saturday is our second practice test. So they are going to be taking it again, and we're going to see, it's going to be held in the gym. It's going to be held just like the ACT is. We're going to check to see like if there's been any improvement, and get them the experience of taking the ACT in an environment that they would typically take it. On those results next week, they will be put into another group. They will not have ACT prep that's required next week. It'll be, if they have time, then they can work on it. I think we're going to be looking at assigning some test taking assignment, like test taking tip assignments for those subject areas, but they will not be required to be completed because it's midterms and fall family weekend. The week after that, which is the 21st to the 20th, will be our in-person ACT week. So from the second practice test, they were reassigned to maybe the same or a new subject group, hopefully a new one because they improved on the last one. And they will be meeting every day during advisory with the team member assigned to that subject. So they are going to get their practice 2 tests back. They're going to look at what they got wrong. And during that week, they will work with their assigned person to figure out what they got wrong, what's the correct answer, how do we get that correct answer, why is that the correct answer. Then on the 29th, they will either take the ACT if they have signed up by the 18th, so it's not too late to sign up, or they will take a practice test number 3. And the goal is to see improvement on those tests as we progress through. For cadets who took practice test number 1, they have finally all been graded, and I have put them by cadet in order and everything. So I will be sending out emails this week, letting you know what their grade was from the first practice test. And I'll do that for each one as well. Okay, that was a lot. Anyone else? Did I forget anything?
The other thing about ACT is if your cadet has previously at another school had accommodations, Cameo also files those, and the ones that can be approved, ACT, it's a whole process, but ACT will approve some of those accommodations. And then she knows, Kristen would know about that as well as myself, and then we make those accommodations when they are tested here on campus.
Yes, and if a cadet, because I believe the cutoff date is September 30th for accommodations for our district test. And the district test just means the students taking the ACT are just MMA cadets. It's not a testing center where outside students can come and take it. So it was September 30th, and there were emails that went out to people who had signed up in time for that. And if there are any cadets who started attending MMA after September 30th, there is a limited window where I can see if they can get accommodations. It is not just going to be accepted. I have to submit their IEP plan, like their learning plan from MMA, their previous IEP. And if they have any doctor's notes or anything like that, stating if they have behavior or learning disabilities or anything like that, that also needs to be included. So I will be looking, I just learned that yesterday. So I will be looking through the list, seeing if there are any new cadets that are flagged. And I don't mean new as in just signed up. I mean new as in just started attending MMA since September 30th. So I'll look through the list, I'll see who can be added. And that also goes for English learning learners. ELL students qualify for accommodations as well, or can. And then everything gets sent to ACT, and then they decide if it can be accommodated or not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add on ACT or SAT? Or I also put a link in the chat.
We did have a question about SAT.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, we had a question about SAT prep. We focus on ACT. It's more like the more East Coast you are, the more focused on SAT. The more West Coast, the more ACT, and Midwest is very much focused on the ACT. And so that doesn't mean that your cadet can't prep for the ACT. Or for the SAT. They're welcome to partake in the ACT prep. All seniors and juniors are required to participate this year. And the English and math portion may be helping them prepare for the SAT. We also have SAT prep available in the iExcel program that was mentioned earlier, that cadets can access for free. And then there are several cadets who are focusing on the SAT, and so they have actually hired personal coaches and consultants to help them focus on SAT prep. And then we also currently have a contract with Varsity Tutors, and we can send out more information about how you can access that as well.
Thank you. And junior cadets are taking the PSAT, is that correct? Later this month? Is that...
So junior cadets, sophomores are taking the PSAT on October 26th, and junior cadets and senior cadets, sophomores are welcome, freshmen are like anyone can take any of these tests. But we are focusing on juniors and seniors taking the ACT on the 29th.
Okay, thank you. All right, as we're preparing cadets for college, we have some that may choose to take a post-grad year. And that is something that we offer at MMA. And I would say, and other members of the team can correct me if I'm wrong, but often it's cadets who graduate from MMA and want to stay another year and continue to prepare for college, just need that extra time. And we can also, and a new cadet can come in for post-grad year as well. But so what if a cadet does complete his high school requirements, but wants to choose a post-grad year? Can one of you comment on that?
Yeah, I can. So I think one of the questions had it was a fifth-year senior. So the difference between a fifth-year senior and a post-grad is a fifth-year senior is actually still earning high school credits. And so a post-grad means they have actually graduated high school, and between yourselves and the cadet, they have decided to stay an extra year, and sometimes it's maybe to acquire extra English skills. We do have a lot of ELL cadets that stay to acquire extra English skills before they move on to a United States college. We also have cadets that will stay that just need to maybe focus on their writing skills more, because they know that in college they need that more than ever now. And then sometimes it's math. Maybe it's a math focus. So they work with Pearl to get that schedule lined out for that fifth year, almost tailored to them, to kind of what their weaknesses are and what they know that they need to make stronger. And Pearl, you can jump in too, because I know you work with those cadets a lot.
Absolutely. So it's really a specialized program that is tailored to the cadet based on their academic goals and what they want to accomplish. Sometimes they'll stay to improve their grades, their GPA, take more rigorous classes. Maybe they don't know exactly what they want to major in college yet. And one of the focuses will be taking more, some classes to kind of figure that out. Another really good idea for a post-grad year is to take more of the college classes while they're still in a high school setting and have those supports available to them, finish some of the prereqs for their major. Another reason cadets sometimes take it is they're just not quite ready to go on to college, and maybe they're need a little bit more maturity to face some of those facets of college life that they'll have to deal with. They can also improve their study skills and time management skills, because we all know those are really important for college. Once they graduate and move on to college, as Cameo said, they won't have high school teachers prompting them to turn in assignments or come to class and those sorts of things. Learning those time management skills is a really good reason.
Okay, thank you. And we have just a couple more questions in the chat. So do parents have access to the cadets score account?
They don't at the moment, because we actually in the middle of this month, we just added the cadets. And I wanted them to have something to see and score before I invited parents. But I will be doing that next week, giving all parents access so that you can get in and look at the assessments that the cadets have been taking and college placement activities, that sort of thing. Parents of seniors can actually suggest colleges to their cadet that they would like to see them apply to. They can't do the applications for them, but they can actually make those suggestions. Cameo, do you have something to add for that too?
That's just what I was gonna say.
Oh,
So when you
perfect.
suggest a college, it comes up in the suggestion column,
Yes.
and only the cadet can move it over to following, applying, or applied.
Right.
Thank you. And I do just want to thank Cameo for organizing the college fair that we had on campus just a few weeks ago. We had a number of universities and schools here for our cadets to talk with. So that was a wonderful thing that we are happy to offer to our cadets on campus every year. And then we also had a question about if cadets can ever choose other schools besides William Woods for college credit while they're at MMA. So for example, if they wanted to choose MACC, could they take courses? Could an MA high school cadet take an MACC course with their regular MMA schedule?
Well, I know it would probably have to all be approved through the president, because we do not have a partnership with MACC. And then it would also have to be able to fit into their schedule. Pearl, do you want to add to that?
It could maybe be an online class, or MACC does have a satellite school here in Mexico. So it could be a possibility. It's something that we would definitely explore if we had a cadet that was interested in doing that.
Right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, as we're talking schools, Cameo, this might be one for you to answer, but how are we supporting cadets in finding college scholarships? Because another one of our markers for success is we want our cadets to get as much financial support as they head off to college as possible. So can you touch on that, please?
Absolutely. So I have been having a series of meetings with cadets. So I had their first senior meeting between August and September before the college fair. That was to introduce myself, get to know them a little. What are they interested in? What's their career aspirations? What do they want to major in? What schools are they looking into? All of that kind of stuff. I'm in the middle of senior meeting number 2. So the second round right now, hopefully done the week after midterms, where we are now focusing on filling out a spreadsheet I made and shared with each senior. They have their own folder with me, where we're picking the top 6 colleges we want to focus on. We're looking at the website together. This is all happening in the meeting. So they need to come with a list of the 6 colleges, and typically they need to have this listed in SCORE so we can quickly go through it. But we're picking the top 6. We're looking at the websites, figuring out what admissions pieces do you need? Do you need an essay, personal statement, letter of recommendation? How many letters of recommendation? Do you need a counselor evaluation? Is there an app fee? Just all the different moving parts that come with a college application. Then we figure out what's required and what's optional from those materials for each school. We figure out the deadlines that they want to meet. Do they want to do early action, early decision, regular deadline? priority deadline, rolling admissions, different things like that. Then we focus on the checklist, the to-do list for them. So we figure out what the cadet needs to do, what they need from me, and then if they are looking for letters of recommendation, identifying who they wanted for that, who they want to ask. Then we go over the process of, moving the school over to applying, so I can send stuff, and like, how do you request letters of recommendation through SCORE, all those kind of things. Then after that, because our goal is to get them to apply to the 6 colleges needed to graduate before Thanksgiving. That is not an official goal. That is not like part of the policy or anything, but that is the goal we have. And I've explained that it's because my time as an admissions counselor, I wanted to let them know that from Thanksgiving through the beginning of January is an insane time to be in admissions in college. And they're getting thousands of applications a day. And so they're not going to put a lot of face time into applications. They're going to look through, quickly make a decision. So the earlier we get them in, the more face time their application is going to get with a counselor. And with that means that some of these schools have scholarship deadlines tied with application deadlines. So if you apply by November 1st, and we're looking at that when we go through the schools, if you apply by November 1st, you qualify for every scholarship available. If you apply by December 1st, you only qualify for these certain scholarships. Those kind of things are happening. We're talking about the financial aid process. So FAFSA opens up on December 1st. That's the free application for federal student aid. We talk through what that process looks like. We figure out if they qualify for that, or if they qualify for the CSS profile, which is similar to FAFSA, but it's more for international students, immigrants. Some schools don't take FAFSA, but they only take the CSS profile. So figuring out the difference between the two and what that means. We also are we just signed a contract, or in the middle of signing a contract with VU Scholarships, VU Scholarships. This is a program where it's going to take your cadets' information, so their class rank, their GPA, all that kind of stuff, and it's going to pair them with colleges that they meet the minimum requirements for admissions with. And it's going to show them how much in scholarships they qualify for from these schools if they were to apply. So it's not going to apply them. They're not going to be accepted. It's just going to show them this is money that's sitting there waiting for you if you apply to this school. So that's one way. Those are typically merit-based scholarships, which means it's based off their GPA and grades, those kind of things. We talked about school scholarships. So even though a school is test optional, you should still be taking the ACT or SAT, because they most likely have scholarships that do require scores. We also talked about merit-based scholarships, looking at the scholarships page of a website to see if there's outside scholarships that they list there for you to apply to. We talked about Going Merry and FastWeb, and there's one more that's a Missouri specific one that I can't think of. And these are websites where you create a profile. So your cadet would create a profile, put in their own information like their GPA and stuff, and then it's going to pair them with scholarships that they meet the minimum requirement for. So this is similar to VU, but it's not school specific. These are just scholarships you can apply to any school. Then it's the cadet's job to go through that list and see if they actually meet, because there may be extra requirements in there that they don't search for. So like must play with red Legos, those kind of things. See which ones they qualify for, what ones they want to put the work in for. And it could be as simple as writing a 500-word essay, or making a 2-minute introductory video about why you like potato rolls, or, those kind of things. And as long as they put the work in, they can definitely look at getting scholarships like that. It's just a matter of being motivated enough to actually go through and be diligent and do the work and figure out what's going to work for them, kind of thing. But we are doing it.
All right, thank you. So we did also just have a question about, does going to a military school give cadets advantages for scholarships that are not merit-based?
So it does with schools. It depends on the articulation agreement that we have with certain schools. So for example, we have an articulation agreement with Norwich University. If a cadet has a 2.5 or higher GPA and they hold a leadership position with MMA, then they can qualify for the highest ranking merit-based scholarship, which is $30,000. Typically that's reserved for a 3.6 GPA or higher. So even though that's a merit-based scholarship, it's a higher level one than they would have normally gotten. So we do have agreements like that set up with different schools. I know we have Norwich and Missouri S&T are what I know off the top of my head, but there is a list of agreements that we have.
And I would think as well, the leadership opportunities that we give our cadets as well are going to give them some extra things to be able to put in those scholarship applications, especially as our cadet leaders, if they're applying for cadet leadership positions later in their MMA careers, they're putting together those resumes and have really got a lot to showcase.
Yeah, and some schools offer like JROTC scholarships and stuff like that, which, you know, if your cadet is in JROTC, so they can't just be at MMA, they have to be in the JROTC class, which I believe
All cadets, yeah, all cadets are in JROTC.
Then they could qualify for different JROTC scholarships, like, again, using Norwich as an example, just because I know their scholarships. They have one where the commander, the teacher of the class, can nominate up to 3 different students from their schools. So, and that gets ranked. So it's like a 4,000, 3,000, and 2,000. So that's one version of another scholarship that they could qualify for because they're in JROTC or because they're at a military school, that kind of thing.
I'm going to tag in real quick if I can. 2 things. When your cadet calls and says, hey, I have a FAFSA that I need you to fill out, the earlier, the better. The earlier gets the most money. And those of you that don't know what a FAFSA is, it's basically an application that your cadet could receive federal monies and grants that could take the place in grants or loans. Very important because the majority of schools, you have to fill that out. That's part of the application process. So I just wanted to hit on that. And you have to go back like to your taxes. So it's a process. So when they start mentioning that, getting all your taxes together and being able to spend, you know, probably a good hour filling out that application, it's just a step by step, but definitely the earlier the better. And then on scholarships, I've been in public education for 20 years and always had seniors. So with scholarships, look in your local communities. So a lot of times your insurance agent, your local church that you're a member of, check out with those companies because they always offer local scholarships that they don't necessarily advertise.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get that.
And I would also check with your employer because sometimes they have a scholarship program for your kids that you're probably contributing to and don't even know about. So
and then our cadets also do the community service hours, and that always looks good on any type of application that they apply for. That always bumps them up a little bit because they have done those community service hours through, you know, our graduation requirements.
Yeah, and going off of the FAFSA piece that Dean Clement talked about, there is going to be an email coming out to you guys about, you may have seen an email before from me about a Google Classroom. Parents can't access it. So I created a Dropbox for parents to access that has all of the information that's in the Google Classroom that your cadets have access to. And in it is an events folder. And that events folder is where I'm going to be posting like webinars that they have and in-person events that you could take your cadet to, like different things like that. The webinars, there is one that I'm pretty sure I posted in there, but I'll go check after this, that is about introduction to FAFSA. And I believe it's later this month, put on by MOCAN, which is a Missouri organization, but it's not just for Missouri residents, they're going to be explaining how to fill out the FAFSA and answer any questions that you might have for it. So I will make sure that that is linked in there. It actually might be the beginning of December because it opens up on December 1st. So that makes more sense. But I'll make sure that that's in there and we can send out a reminder about that as well.
Right, thank you. We are just about on here at an hour, so we're going to be wrapping up. We did have one question related to athletics and Fall Family Weekend, so I do want to make sure that families understand that Fall Family Weekend events for our seniors and for any cadets that are going through the passing through ceremony, those Fall Family Weekend events do take precedence over athletics. So if it is a new cadet who is going to be going through the passing through ceremony, they will be on campus for that. And if it's a senior who needs to be here for the senior review, senior ring ceremony, they will be on campus for that as well. So, okay, all right. If you have any questions that we have not touched on that you still want some answers on, please do reach out to any member of our academic team, to our faculty advisors, faculty members, coaches, etc. We are very happy to help. We look forward to seeing everyone, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after for Fall Family Weekend. And anyone have anything to offer as we wrap up?
Thank you
No,
for
I just
joining
wanted
us
to-
tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's nice to, you know, actually have a face-to-face with parents because it's always a phone call and we don't always get to see you guys. So it's great that you guys took time out of your evening to ask these questions and get the answers that you needed. And if you had any other questions, feel free to email any of us. We're known as the ALP team. We are a leadership team and that's our job, to answer your questions and ease your mind with your cadets. So just let us know.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Night.